Jimmy Butler, he's a very interesting player to me.
Just goes to show the offense for the Dallas Stars could not keep up, and when the defense needed to step up, the Lightning's offense just overpowered them.
It makes it almost impossible for their bats to get going or have any confidence in the locker room when you're getting absolutely hosed on the defensive end.
He's like, oh shoot, I don't know where to go with the ball because I haven't been able to think.
It's their defense, man. Mika Fitzpatrick, TJ Watt.
You saw Luka. I'm very intrigued to see how Luka bounces back after his first playoff series.
For next season, there are massive free agents like Giannis. And if Giannis goes to a team like the Heat, like I said before, I expect them to win the championship. 4 teams who could win the AFC in my mind, legitimately. Steelers, Chiefs, Titans, Ravens.
Stay undefeated when they face the mighty Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert and Tony Pollard.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life.
So happy when the Astros lost because it would definitely be a 2020 thing to have the Astros win a World Series and then you have to hear them.
Now LeBron's a 4-time champion and Anthony Davis gets his first.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov, that was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
I think you have 2 established number 1 wide receivers in Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, and I think you have an emerging star in CeeDee Lamb.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Sandler, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to our 30th episode. Today, we will go over our conference championship picks that we did in last episode. If you don't know already, go check back. And so, spoiler alert, Austin went 2-0, his second undefeated week in a row. And that now took him the crown. And he was also 1 point off from a perfect prediction, as he predicted the Packers would score 27 and the Bucs would win with 31 points. The actual score was 31-26. So 1 point off, but still he got the win as I picked the Packers, and he took a 2-0 lead or a 2-game lead and giving him the crown. Congratulations, Austin.
Yeah, thank you. I'll take any win I can get. It was a good game, but it was really the turnover battle again. And it's not really the number, as the Packers had less turnovers. They only had 2. The difference was the points after. The Scotty Miller touchdown right after a Aaron Rodgers interception really was the game, in my opinion. Tom Brady had just thrown a pick, and then Aaron Rodgers throws it right back. And it really just results into where it was a situation that the Packers just couldn't allow. And Scotty Miller got an easy touchdown with Kevin King coverage, who gave up the touchdown also to Mike Evans. So he had a tough night. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that Scotty Miller touchdown really made it a 2-score game, because I believe the score before that touchdown to end the half was 14-10. And I really don't know what the Packers were thinking, because they did, I think, 1 safety deep. They didn't do cover 3. Just let Tom Brady let him get by with a field goal. So then it's a touchdown, and then the Packers had the kickoff, so it would have made it a much easier way to claw back. But that touchdown, I think, was right. It was a huge killer. And the Packers, so Brady threw 3 picks. That's 3 turnovers, and the Packers only scored 6 points. The number 1 offense, that's crazy that the Bucs defense was able to do it. And I've been down the Bucs. I've bet against Tom Brady ever since the Washington game. And I've been really surprised because the defense has done a great job getting turnovers. That's at least 2 turnovers in the last 2 playoff games against good quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, the turnover battle doesn't have to be won, but you do have to win the points off turnover battle. That is essential. And while the Bucs did have more turnovers, they had 3, while the Packers only had 2. They did have 14 points off of turnovers. The Packers only had 6, and that really was the difference. There were 2 3-and-outs, and the only points they got after a pick, they missed a 2-point conversion too. It's just tough. Aaron Rodgers could have played better. He could have ran in at the end of the game. But I think he'll stay. They had a great season. I expect them to be contenders next year as well. I think they'll do a better job drafting help this year, as they already took the backup for Aaron Rodgers for the next few seasons. And like you said, Mike Pettine's now out, and I think part of it's because of that play at the end of the half. Why would you play a cover one? That's where you play a cover three and you send out three safeties or just have three guys back and defend the quarters. But instead, they just made it to where they played man, and Scotty Miller was the fastest guy on the field. Like, he isn't Tyreek. Like, I heard this conversation between Scotty Miller and Tyreek where Scotty said he would take himself. He's not Tyreek fast, but a 4.39 40 is moving compared to Kevin King or compared to most defensive backs. 4.39 is really fast. And Kevin King also had the pass interference at the end of the game. He gave it the touchdown to Mike Evans, and he gave it the touchdown to Scotty Miller. He had a very tough game, and yeah, that's all I got. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you mentioned the Packers. They picked the quarterback we all know, and how Aaron Rodgers was upset. I think the reason he was upset, as you mentioned, as you hinted, was the help, and I think it didn't. They were still number one offense, but it came big in this game because you mentioned that 2-point conversion. It hit the guy right in the hands, and there were wide receivers still on the board when the Packers took the quarterback. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was still in it. I'm not saying they should have taken a running back, but there was a better weapon than a quarterback. While that may have fueled Aaron Rodgers, we don't know. But still, it plays into the big storyline since the draft. The Packers not giving the help for Aaron Rodgers now and kind of like preparing for the next like decade. Yeah, we're good right now. We're not going to do anything that much. We're just going to prepare when you're gone, Rodgers. So,
Well, I didn't really think of it as that. I feel like the Jordan Love move was an intelligent move because of the Brett Favre thing that happened. Brett Favre was still playing very well when Aaron Rodgers was drafted, but they saw something in Aaron Rodgers at the end of the round that they thought he could be a franchise QB for decades to come. And that's what he turned out. And if they truly believe that Jordan Love is the next Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, I'm totally fine with the choice. The issue I have is that they didn't. I feel like they played passive. And while I understand why they didn't go on for it on fourth down, if you have the MVP, I feel like you have to go for it. Give him that opportunity. While you're not guaranteed the 2-point conversion, as they had already missed one beforehand, it just hurts to not have that. And I don't really know if they would have drafted another wide receiver. Marquez Valdez-Scantling played very well this season. So did Robert Tonyan. So did Alan Lazard. So did Devontae Adams. They had Devin Funchess, who opted out before the season. And I don't really know if there would have been a receiver that they could have drafted that would have stepped into that role as well as the people they already had. But you're right. You know what really hurt also? David Bakhtiari being out. He was sacked 5 times this game, Aaron Rodgers was. 3 times by Shaq Barrett, twice by JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul. And that's really what ended the game, is he didn't have time in the pocket to make those throws to those fast wide receivers. The Packers need to draft another lineman, I feel like, even though they had the second best line. And the reason I say that is because David Bakhtiari and their line is a little bit more injury prone, and Corey Linsley and Aaron Jones are both free agents. I love the addition of A.J. Dillon. I feel like that was a very smart pickup. Now they have 3 solid running backs that can help them. But the Bucs won. Tom Brady is a 43-year-old quarterback who's won as many NFC championships as Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers. So it only took him 1 year. Like you said, you bet against Brady the past 2 games, and I refused to do it, and that's really what carried me to this playoff predictor championship. But I think we can move on to Chiefs versus Bills. It was a good game at the beginning. I thought the Bills had a chance if they went up 9-0, but I should have known better. The Chiefs are a very they start out slowly in most games, which I think we'll get to this in our next video, but I feel like that may hurt them against a Bucks team that has played very well with the lead. But I predicted a 23-14 game while you predicted a 28-21. We both had the Chiefs winning. The actual score was 38-24. I didn't expect it to be this high scoring because of the inefficiencies with the offense of the Chiefs, but Andy Reid got it done, and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce really destroyed the game. What do you think?
Yeah, it kind of the Bills scoring 9 points. It was off a off a miscue of I think it was McCole Hardman. That was shocking, but it was kind of reminiscent of the Chiefs going down 10 points in the Super Bowl, 10 points in the AFC Championship, and that incredible lead the Texans had against them, and then they rallied with 21 unanswered points. And Tyreek Hill had an incredible run. I don't know how he dodged that guy, because the guy was right there and he slipped past him, and then he runs, and then he basically runs out of steam when he could have almost ran in for the touchdown. He just laid there, and then Kelsey was doing well, and the Chiefs, like we both predicted, they wouldn't get over 30, and it was the Chiefs offense returned, and I think that's an important return because if you're gonna beat the Bucks, they need to have this offense rolling on all cylinders. Like you said, they cannot start late. So they have to roll on everything because if you're going against Brady, you can't mess up. Especially with how well this Bucks defense is doing. I think they can do it because Tyreek Hill has done it before, but you cannot have a miscue like you did against the Bills. Do you have
Yeah,
anything else?
yeah. It's really again, both teams that lost, the Packers and the Bills, both did not go for it. While sometimes, yes, when you're in the red zone, you need to get points. I'm totally fine on that first possession, the Bills taking a field goal just to get their offense into it. But once it gets to third, fourth quarter, second quarter, even when the Chiefs start to get going, you have to go for touchdowns. Have to. There's no choice. The Chiefs will put up 40 on anybody. There's very few teams that can hold them under. That 2018 Patriots defense that won the championship scored that amazing defense that held the Rams to 3 points, still got 31 points put on them by the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a top 5 offense of all time. They may be top 3. The greatest show on turf's up there, and the only reason why I'd put them above them is because the Chiefs don't have that running back. If the Chiefs had a Marshall Faulk, it would be they'd be the greatest team of all time in my opinion. They would never lose a game, and they almost don't lose a game. In the last 26 games, including postseason play, Patrick Mahomes is 25-1. 25-1. That is insane. And while I love Sean McDermott and Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, they're still a tier below. There is not a team after the Patriots were out last year that I have seen that can compete with this Chiefs team. I feel like the NFC, while I believe it is a overall worse conference, it has teams that I believe can fight against the Chiefs that are built differently. Your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna backtrack to when you said the Bills were a tier below, and I agree. Like we thought it was gonna be a close game, but the Bills see how far they have to go because the Chiefs aren't going anywhere. They have Patrick Mahomes, for on a 10-year contract, Tyreek Hill for a couple more years, Kelsey for a few more years, and then you mentioned running back. I don't think he's gonna be Marshall Faulk, but he is gonna be a darn good one. Is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's going to do well. He doesn't have his tackles right now. They don't have their guard, Dr. Tardernay Tardif, or Duvernay Tardif. So they might get better. They also have, it's not Darren Williams, it's Daryl Williams, who opted out for running back.
Damian Williams.
Okay, thank you. So he might come back. But the Bills, I think they need to take what they did against the Chiefs because I see the Bills as the number 2 team. And I see if you're a tier below and you're the second team, that's not a good thing for the other teams. So I think the Bills can soon rival the Chiefs, but it's going to be a very key offseason to see what they do after learning what they did in this game.
Yeah, it's gonna be it. I'm conflicted, but it's really the run game that they don't have that they need. The Chiefs can afford to have, like this year, because of all the players that were out, they can afford to lose players like uh, Damian Williams and still have an insane offense. When they get him back, just imagine how good they're going to be next year. But the Bills have to have a running back. The reason why the Patriots won that game in the 2018 season, the game was in 2019. The reason why they won that game is because of their rushing attack. James White, Rex Burkhead, and Sony Michel took the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. I rewatched the game earlier today, that game, because I think it's going to be very important to analyze how did Tom Brady do it before, and how they did it was all of those guys. Rex Burkhead won the game at the end with a rushing touchdown. Sony Michel had 2 rushing touchdowns. The first drive was 8 minutes or 7 minutes and 55 seconds or something like that by the Patriots. The Bills don't have a running back who can ice the game like that. Their running back is almost Josh Allen, which is not good. That's not what you want. If they can get a solid running back or have a good rushing attack, a better O-line is what I'm saying, I feel like they could compete with the Chiefs better than like the Packers, or better than the Bucks, or better than the Saints. The difference, all 3 teams I just mentioned have a rushing attack. Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Leonard Fournette plus Ronald Jones. They know how to rush the ball when needed. The Bills aren't that. And while there's teams like the Ravens who can rush the ball, they can't pass. Like, you need both against the Chiefs because no one has a Tyreek Hill or a Travis Kelce or a Patrick Mahomes on their roster. So you need to make it up where their deficiencies are. And the Bills just can't do that.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw out one name. I'm thinking Travis Etienne because I think Najee Harris goes to the Steelers. So he'll definitely be off the board when the Bills pick him. But I'm thinking Travis Etienne will be he's a good runner, but he's also good at the backfield. So he'd add a threat because he'll be a good check down. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's an interesting move. But again, I think they don't need a receiving back. They need a running back. That's again another thing that I think the Patriots did well is they knew when to put James White in, the receiving back, and when to put Sony Michel in. And then you had the mixture, which was Rex Burkhead. They knew Josh McDaniels is intelligent enough to know when he needs to put in the running backs, and even if they're a receiving back, he knows when to run the ball with them to keep the defense honest. Oh, they're not just going to run the ball. That's what I think the Titans' problem is. They don't have a second running back. When they take because Derrick Henry, that's why I still put when Christian McCaffrey's healthy, he's better. It's not because he's a better running back, like at running the ball. It's because you can put him in as a receiver and he can still do everything. Derrick Henry doesn't have that facet, and that's okay. If the Titans had a capable receiving back who could also rush the ball sometimes, I feel that like that would take them to the next step. I think like the Titans, if they got that player like Travis Etienne, I think that'd be amazing for them because like I said, they get that change of pace back. Every team I think needs 2 running backs. If you look at the teams that are making it far, everybody's playing multiple backs. Why do you think Kansas City picked up Le'Veon Bell? They're not even playing him as much as we thought. They're playing Darrell Williams, the other Williams on their team, more. They're playing these guys who most people who aren't sports fans haven't heard of, but there's Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones and LaShawn McCoy if you want to throw him in there for the Bucs. Then you have Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones, and A.J. Dillon. You need multiple running backs. Latavius Murray and Alvin Kamara. You need multiple running backs, and that's really what I think the Titans, what the Bills, what all these teams are lacking that the Chiefs and Andy Reid know about, but they just do it better than everybody else.
Yep. That's definitely an interesting thing. It's also they might get a guy in free agency. I'm not a huge fan, but definitely an interesting thing about what you said about ETN and the running back combo and how the league has shifted because we're starting to see the Cowboys with one main running back. He's starting to deteriorate. Another team that's shifted from it was the Rams. They had Todd Gurley, rode him
You're
to Super
right.
Bowl.
That's a great point. Now they have Cam Akers, Henderson, and all the people there, and they can help carry the load. That's why I like that Mike Davis is still in the Panthers. So when Christian McCaffrey gets back and healthy, they don't have to rely on one guy. A running back is not a position that if you want to last, there is players who can. Saquon Barkley, they need a second running back, or players are going to continue to get injured. There are guys who can survive. There's few and far between, but there are guys like Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, those guys who can survive for 8+ years as a running back and be the only person. But it is essential. If you go back to 2014, it was LeGarrette Blount, Shane Vereen. Shane Vereen was the receiving back who could run the ball sometimes, and then there was LeGarrette Blount, who would just run the ball. The power back. The Patriots have been doing this forever, and I feel like teams need to realize when the best team is winning by doing something, they're doing something right. And the Chiefs have learned, and that's why they're the next tier.
Yep. I think that's good enough. Jerry Jones, hope you're listening because this is why you shouldn't have given Zeke this contract. Just thought I'd point that out because that I think. But that concludes our episode. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed our little divergent into the running back and how it's going. Let us know in the comments what you think the Chiefs, Bills, Packers, or Bucks should do. Do you think Rodgers gets traded? I don't think so, and I think Austin agrees.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's no way.
Yeah. And so next episode, we will just be reviewing Super Bowl storylines. So everything Super Bowl going in. So make sure to check that out.